All right.
Speaking of sequels, this is one we've already reviewed and covered, and it does get the podcast seal of approval, is Lambert Hillier's 1936 version of Dracula's Daughter.
Oh, yeah.
Lambert Hillier also is known for directing the Batman serials of the 40s. But the first time that I recognized Lambert Hillier was from Dracula's Daughter.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about the film being really funny. We talked it not taking itself too seriously.
Right.
The cinematography, Edward Van Sloan's back to reprise his role as Van Helsing.
Mm-hmm.
We've heard all this. It's a good film. Talk about it.
Well, I mean, we open up, of course, right after Dracula has been staked from the 1931 film, although nothing looks the same. The set's different. Van Sloan's wardrobe is different.
No armadillos.
No armadillos. There's not. I mean, it's a completely different scene, but this is where the Universal decides to open itself up. So there's a little inconsistency in the beginning. Van Helsing has to then explain to the police what he's just done, and of course he is detained. In the meantime, Dracula's body is taken by his daughter and cremated, basically. Wonderful looking wax dummy of Lugosi in the casket. But and then we're introduced to this character of his daughter, who is just spellbinding, really. I think she was a wonderful Countess Zaleska, yes, and she's just a phenomenal character. And then we're taken for a ride.
They put a little bit of touches of Carmilla in it.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't overly done. I think it was actually very artsy and tasteful.
Yeah.
When the model goes into Countess Zaleska's flat, and Countess Zaleska entices her of, I'm going to paint you and I'm going to pay you money.
Mm-hmm.
It also touches a little bit on poverty of the era, and it also touches on the evolving sexuality. Censors didn't really care for it, but I think it was very well done, very tasteful. It shows Countess Zaleska is tragic, a little bit romantic, and very dangerous at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite part of the film was the relationship between the two stars. I thought it was a tit for tat. They added a lot of comedy in it. It was very well done.
They were the perfect team, quite frankly, in my opinion, when it comes to a relationship on the screen for that type of film. They played off of each other so well and had such a rapport.
For males and females, the chemistry, I've rarely seen better chemistry in the 30s.
True.
Than that relationship there.
Yeah.
And we already gave it a thumbs up. How about you?
Oh, absolutely thumbs up.
It's a great film. I know that I might have to turn in my fan card for this, but my favorite film of the Frankenstein series comes in 1939, directed by Roland V. Lee. It's The Son of Frankenstein. It has three of the kings of cinema: Boris Karloff, Bela Lugosi, and Basil Rathbone. That is the creature, Dracula, and Sherlock Holmes. Even if the script was awful, which it's not, how can you not love the film?
That's exactly right. Well, for me, Basil Rathbone, I mean, you heard how I spoke about Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing and how Cushing could do no wrong. Well, Rathbone is that times 100. I mean, Rathbone was the greatest in my opinion, and one of the most underrated actors in Hollywood that was, up to a certain point in time, was given nothing but heavy villain roles, including roles with Errol Flynn and Tyrone Power as villains. Great swordsman, though. Great swordsman. But this was a chance for Basil to do something else, and this is right around the time when he was doing The Hound of the Baskervilles and The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes for 20th Century Fox. So you've got that in as well, and Basil also in that same year would do Tower of London for Universal. So he's starting to play with Universal, and we have maybe the shadows of what is to come in 1942 with the full relationship with Universal, where he would go on and do the Sherlock Holmes series with Nigel Bruce and all. He does a great job as Wolf Frankenstein, Henry's son. It's just a great film. It really is. It was shot well. It's an imaginative story. Settings are a little different than they were in the original, so there's, the continuity's not there. And Bela is exceptional in this one as Igor.
Bela Lugosi gets to stretch.
Mm-hmm.
And when he's given a meaty role, there are really three roles where he gets to really push. Count Dracula, Dr. Richard Vallon, and Igor.
Yes.
His voice is totally different.
Mm-hmm.
He looks unrecognizable except for just right around the eyes.
Yeah.
This is Basil Rathbone's film.
Mm-hmm.
He's the star. But you've got these two other great actors backing him up. It's a solid script. It's well shot. I don't mind I don't mind that the sets are different. I think it's actually an improvement because it's more atmospheric.
It is.
It feels like something one could actually experience. It feels like someone could actually walk in through and experience the film Son of Frankenstein.
Also, something else to talk about is Lionel Atwill's performance, as well as the policeman there, who would later be parodied in Young Frankenstein with his wooden arm. Great job there. The monster is back to being mute once again.
I don't mind. I don't mind him being mute, because also he's gone through different levels of destruction.
That he has.
Every film he can't die. He's temporarily destroyed, he's died by fire, he got thrown into the pit at the end of this film. So I'm not sure what that would do to the brain.
That's true.
An intelligent being like Count Dracula, it really wouldn't affect too much. But a being that was a hodgepodge of other humans might take a different route. But that perhaps is a little bit of overthinking. Not thinking at all, just going on instinct. I absolutely give this the Dracula Podcast seal of approval.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Unfortunately, you can't see this film on Blu-ray.
What a shame.
Universal, listen to me. Put out Dracula's Daughter, Son of Frankenstein, and The Raven on Blu-ray. Focus in on there. And if you want someone to help you do Dracula, give me a call. I'm right here.